There's a town in America where you can buy a house for $7,000. Not an empty lot, not a shed, a real standing house. While millions of Americans are choking on $500,000 starter homes, a shadow market of dirt-cheap real estate exists, where your monthly Social Security check could easily cover the mortgage. To a desperate retiree or a remote worker, it looks like the ultimate loophole. But nobody tells you the catch. Because in these towns, you aren't just buying a house, you are buying into toxic wastelands, active underground fires, catastrophic crime rates, and collapsing infrastructure. Today, we're counting down 20 American towns where the housing is practically free, and the locals are begging you not to stop for gas. Let's break it down. 20. Waycross, Georgia. You can buy a 3-bedroom house here for less than an iPhone storage upgrade. The median home price sits at $108,800. The cost of living is 29% below the national average. But what are you actually buying? You are buying extreme isolation. Locals describe the downtown as the Walking Dead, but with more Dollar Generals. The major employer is the railroad, and your backyard is the 450,000-acre Okefenokee Swamp. It's cheap, but it's a rural trap where economic mobility goes to die. 19. Clarksdale, Mississippi. This is the birthplace of the blues. You can buy a house for $45,000. Your $1,276 Social Security check feels like lottery winnings here. But Clarksdale hides a grim reality. Mississippi ranks dead last, number 50 out of 50 in healthcare access. Real estate is $45,000 because the infrastructure simply cannot sustain a healthy population. You get nightly live blues music, but you sacrifice basic medical security and step into severe systemic poverty. 18. Moundsville, West Virginia. Median home price, $18,500. The town's biggest attraction? The West Virginia State Penitentiary, operated from 1876 to 1995, and notoriously one of the most violent in American history. The state has been hemorrhaging its population for decades as coal mines shuttered. The cost of living is rock bottom, but job growth is virtually non-existent. You can buy a Mountain View home for the price of a used Honda, but you're moving into an epicenter of Appalachian economic collapse. 17. Centralia, Pennsylvania. If a dying economy doesn't scare you, how about a town that is actively trying to kill you? In 1962, a trash fire ignited a massive underground coal seam. 63 years later, the literal earth beneath this town is still burning. The population dropped from over 2,100 to under 5. The U.S. government deleted the zip code. The fire spans 8 miles, reaches depths of 300 feet, and vents lethal carbon monoxide. Experts say it will burn for another 250 years. It's not a housing market. It's an exclusion zone. 16. Pitcher, Oklahoma. Centralia burned. Pitcher was poisoned. Officially dissolved in 2013, it represents the absolute floor of American real estate. Pitcher produced over 50% of the lead used in World War II ammunition. They left behind 70 million tons of toxic tailings. By 1994, 34% of the children had severe lead poisoning. The EPA bought everyone out, declaring it the most toxic town in America. Pitcher is the ultimate warning. Sometimes, even free real estate isn't cheap enough. 15. Cairo, Illinois. This is the ghost town at the end of America. Median home price, $7,000. Population, down 89% from its peak, sitting at just over 1,500 people today. Unemployment is a staggering 17.4%. Cairo sits exactly where the Mississippi and Ohio rivers meet. It should have been a booming metropolis. Instead, a history of intense racial conflict, including 142 consecutive nights of gunfire in 1970 and a refusal to adapt, destroyed it from the inside out. For 8 years, from 2015 to 2023, the town didn't even have a grocery store. Average rent is under $300 a month, but entire blocks are completely abandoned to the earth. 14. East St. Louis, Illinois. You can buy a house here for $26,000. It might come with a bullet hole. The violent crime rate is 2,752 per 100,000 people. The national average is 383. The homicide rate is roughly 28 times the national average. You have a 1 in 30 chance of being a victim of a crime. Locals will tell you, the house might cost you $26,000, but your security system better be military grade. 13. Gary, Indiana. Gary covers an area the size of San Francisco, but it holds only 70,000 people. That is not a neighborhood. That is an evacuation. Built by U.S. Steel, globalization hollowed it out. Up to 30% of the housing is vacant, roughly 13,000 blighted properties. You can buy a home for $66,000, but you will be living in an apocalyptic movie set, literally. Hollywood films here because they don't need to build ruins. 12. Flint, Michigan. Median home price, $61,000. Ranked as the #1 most affordable city in 2025 by WalletHub. But you say Flint, and people think of one thing, the water crisis. In a bid to save $2 million, the city corroded its own pipes, exposing over 9,000 children to elevated lead. Decades later, some homes still test at 14,000 parts per billion for lead. One 82-year-old resident perfectly summarized the housing market. I don't drink it. I don't cook with it. I don't trust it. 11. Detroit, Michigan. In Detroit, you can famously buy a house for a single dollar at auction. The median price sits around $78,000. Here is the financial trap nobody mentions. Detroit has the highest car insurance rates in America. The average annual premium is over $5,100, 284% above the national average. Property taxes are the highest in the country. You can afford the mortgage, but insuring your vehicle will bankrupt you. 10. Eagle Pass, Texas. If you want to leave the Rust Belt, the Sun Belt offers its own brand of chaos. In Eagle Pass, you can buy a house for $146,000 and watch Mexico from your porch. But you are moving to ground zero of a federal border standoff. In 2024, the National Guard seized Shelby Park, building an 80-acre military base. It is cheap, the crime is statistically low, but the visual reality is living inside a highly militarized zone. 9. McAllen, Texas. Cost of living is 21% below the national average. Crime is historically low. It sounds like a retirement dream until summer hits. Temperatures regularly exceed 100 degrees for weeks. 93% of properties face extreme heat risk. Your mortgage is cheap, but your air conditioning will run constantly. Utility costs here run 27% above the national average. You aren't saving money, you're just paying it to the electric grid to survive the climate. 8. Rochester, New York. Let's trade the heat for the freeze. Homes average $160,000, but Rochester is one of the cloudiest cities in America. Gray and overcast for more than half the year. With an annual snowfall topping 100 inches from lake-effect storms, and an economy still reeling from the bankruptcy of Eastman Kodak, living here is a psychological endurance test. As one resident put it, living in Rochester is like owning a warm sweater that occasionally bursts into flames. 7. Harlingen, Texas. If you are retiring and worried about your health, Harlingen looks like a paradise on paper. Median home price, $174,000. Cost of living, 23% below the national average. But the real draw is the Harlingen Medical Center, consistently ranked as one of the top cardiovascular hospitals in the nation. It's a quiet town, perfect for those looking for peace. However, locals warn that if you're looking for a lively city, Harlingen is not it. There is virtually no nightlife, and your biggest Friday night plan will likely be a trip to the local Dollar General. It's cheap, it's safe, and the healthcare is world-class, but you are trading excitement for a very slow, very humid silence. 6. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is a tale of two cities. You can buy a home here for $185,000 and live in the birthplace of the blues and the home of world-class barbecue. But Memphis also carries the highest violent crime rate in the nation among large cities. There are roughly 182 active gangs in the area. While 2024 saw crime drop by 13%, you still have to navigate the geography with extreme precision. If you pick the right block, you have a cultural goldmine. Pick the wrong one, and your affordable lifestyle comes with a daily threat of violence. 5. St. Louis, Missouri. With a median home price of $253,000, St. Louis is the most expensive on this specific list, but it's still a bargain compared to the national average. The city offers incredible free amenities, from the zoo to the art museums. But St. Louis is haunted by its own statistics. Because the city limits are so small and independent from the county, the crime stats are often inflated, making it top most dangerous lists every year. It's a gamble. Buy in the right zip code and you're laughing all the way to the bank. Buy in the wrong one and you're signing up for sirens and smashed windows every night. 4. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yes, the town made famous by The Office. Scranton has the 5th lowest cost of living in the country, with homes averaging $135,000. It's a classic Northeast weird uncle of a town. Gruff, slightly musty, but affordable. The catch? You are living in a town that has been limping back from an economic hit since the 1980s. It is 2 hours from New York City and 2 hours from Philadelphia. If you work remotely, it's a commutable loophole. But you better be prepared for a coal dust aesthetic and being reminded daily that the show wasn't actually filmed here. 3. Toledo, Ohio. Welcome to the glass city that shattered. You can find houses here for $132,000. An average rent is a staggering $750 a month. It's a Rust Belt relic trying to piece itself back together. While the cost of entry is low, the unemployment rate and the decay of the city's industrial core make it a risky investment. It is a city of construction where the roads have potholes big enough to swallow a car and the winters are unforgiving. 2. Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown is where the American dream didn't just die, it was murdered in broad daylight. After Black Monday in 1977, when the steel mills closed, the city lost 2/3 of its population. Today, the poverty rate is 34.8%, triple the national average. The city is now pioneering shrinking city strategies, which means they are deliberately demolishing vacant homes to right-size the town. You can buy a house for $52,000, but you are moving into a city that is literally trying to get smaller to survive. 1. Youngstown's shadow, Bay City, Michigan. And finally, number 1. Bay City is the underrated, forgotten cousin of the Great Lakes. Median home price, $89,000. It's a beautiful waterfront town with riverwalk paths and charming bridges. But here's the math problem that earns it the top spot. Unemployment is over 10% and utilities are among the highest in the entire nation. You can buy a house for next to nothing, but between the lack of jobs and the staggering cost of heating a home during a Michigan winter, the cheap price tag is an illusion. It is a place where you can find a bargain, but only if you bring your own job and a very thick coat. The conclusion. There is a fundamental truth in American real estate that the market tries to hide from you. When a house costs less than a used car, it is pricing in the danger. It is pricing in the toxic crime, the freezing isolation, and the collapsing infrastructure. You can escape the relentless grind of the modern housing crisis. You can make your paycheck stretch, but you have to ask yourself, what exactly are you trading to get it? Hit subscribe, like this video, and let me know in the comments, would you live in any of these towns for a $7,000 house? Stay safe out there.